Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video. Fatherhood, the Forge. I've done a couple of videos in the past on fathers and sons and fatherhood, and I figure I got some new thoughts on the matter. First, I want to start by giving a shout out to a channel called the guy's name is Heartbern. The burn part is spelled B-E-R-N. I'm gonna leave a link in the description box this time. To a video he did that I found very interesting. It was very thought provoking. I think I watched a couple of his videos, a lot of interesting stuff, and he touched on the subject of fatherhood and in its relation to masculinity. First, I want to start by saying, I think that in the previous video I just made, right before this one, where I talked about controlling your temper and controlling your mouth, and I mentioned how it seemed like a lot of young black males have a hard time doing that, and I think this video is going to point in that direct. It's going to point to what's most likely what the cause of that is. And some people might not like that, but then again, we're in this. I think, to my estimation, in American society, fatherhood has been severely downplayed. It's truly underrated. The importance of good fathers, not just not dad, not necessarily not the guy who you slept with your mom. I'm talking about fathers. Fathers who don't need to be told that they have to take care of their family. That fathers who want to be there for their children. And I think our society, our culture is paying a big price for elevating mothers higher than fathers. I think fatherhood should be held in much higher esteem. And these are the reasons why. I put in the title "The Forge." First, I want to bring an example from the Bible, how it's discussed how to be made pure, like refined silver, or gold refined 7 times. I believe that's how it goes, and the dross being removed. Dross is basically the garbage, all the impurities, the junk, the unwanted material that winds up in the forge. That you have to refine. You have to refine a material. You have to refine a metal repeatedly in order to get get as many impurities out as you can. And it's like kind of like you're making, let's say from reloaders, you're making lead ingots. You put your scrap wheel weights, your junk lead, and your little lead soldiers. you put them in your forge, and you heat it up. You add wax, and then you scoop off all the garbage off the top. And then you have clean lead, and it's funny how I'm putting reloading into this. You pour your lead into ingots, and you have lead that's good for making for casting bullets. Same thing, it's, and also, well, after that, then, and it's same as you're forging something, you're hammering, you're using force, basically using heat, using force, using the sweat of your brow to shape this impure hunk of material into something that can be considered a good tool or a masterpiece, something to that effect. And it has to be done with heat and force. You're gonna hammer them. You gotta hammer it. You gotta hammer it into shape. You gotta whip it into shape. And I think that's what fatherhood does for children. Think about it. Nowadays, children are running amok, especially in the black community. You have a lot of you have a lot of households where it's it's a single mother's raising, or it's not even just single mothers. I remember growing up, and I was so fortunate to get out of this situation. I can't emphasize that enough. I remember growing up in a neighborhood where it was strange seeing a father around. You know, my dad was around. He was in my life very very briefly. He spent a lot of time in prison. Came back, left. Came back for his stuff and took off. And and during the summer times, I had my grandparents. And I had my grandfather. I also had my uncle, and a lot of the male figures throughout my life, bosses, employers, teachers, some professors, and getting out of that element where I wasn't around any fatherly figures. Getting away from that, where there was no fatherly figures truly available, was one of the best decisions I ever made. Like I said, I grew up in a neighborhood where it seemed to be foreign. It was foreign to have a father around. Which I guess it makes sense because I grew up in a project. And I look, I'm 26 years old, and I look at the result of just having mothers around, and you have, first off, you have young women who have no idea what it means to be a lady. They're aggressive, they're emotional, overly emotional. They have no control of themselves. And what's much worse is you observe the sons. They're, like I mentioned in the previous video, they're quick. They're short tempered. They're quick. Quick to fire off with from the heart. And by heart, I mean from their feelings. They're beastly. They're they could be they're uncontrollable. It's hard to simmer them down. That's from one, and that's I can't really say a spectrum. That's on one side of the room. The other side, you have these effeminate young men, and that really bothers me. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And it's like you see all that, and you can say, I wonder what kind of father he had. What quality of father did he have in his life? Was his father in his life? What type of father did he have? Me, I had, like I said, I had my grandfather, and I think him being from 1930, I think him being born in 1937 had an effect on me, because I think a lot of it could be about part of my personality, but I think he added a lot to he had a lot of fire to the forge. Put it like that. He had a lot of hammering to the forge. He whipped me into shape. Not necessarily physically, but he showed me a lot of, and now no man's perfect, but he showed me a lot of examples of how a man should conduct himself. And it had, I see a great difference from how I was brought up to seeing how a lot of people that are around me, how they grew up, and what and how they act now. I think kicking fathers out of the family is doing a great disservice to boys, to girls, to society. You gotta think about it. I did a video last year called "Fathers Keeping Big Brother in Check." When you have all these people, whether they're running rampant through crime, or they're not wanting to take responsibility for their actions, they want someone to take care of them. They can't control themselves. They can't control their appetites. They're so emotional. They're so wild. A bigger government's going to come as a result of that. You want to keep. And I said, I think it was a quote by Ben Franklin. You want to keep chains from being outside of you. Have chains on the inside. I think fathers forge those chains, and they instill them in us to keep us in check, to keep our appetites in check. They take something that's raw. They take raw material. Good fathers, true fathers, take raw material that is a young child, that has been nurtured. They They take a raw child and they form them into an adult. I have to say that a father has to be a father is the one that does it. I mean, at least if you think about how we get this far, traditional families have brought us this far, and I think kicking fathers out of the picture is screwing with the recipe, is screwing with the instruction, is screwing with the plan, and we're seeing the results of it. You know, I think it was a gross mistake for mothers to think they can play both roles. They can't. All they can do is hyperextend the role that they already play, into where they're stepping into an arena that's not theirs. You know, generally speaking. You know, and it gets to where, like you see, like I said, I've witnessed guys who are they get offended at the slightest thing. They act irrational. You know, they're fearful of things that you should be able to stand up to. Especially, when you're young, you're a bit wild, but you still have a sense. You still have a sense of, I'm not gonna be afraid of this. I've had moments in my life where I should have been scared shitless. Or I may have been scared, but I didn't let it show. I kept myself. I kept myself focused. I remember what I've been made into, and I'm always improving upon that every day. It's another thing is discipline. And the Bible emphasizes discipline. Like the Proverbs, spare the rod, spoil the child. Fathers were disciplinarians. Even those who are in Christ, if they slip up, they would not disapprove of being corrected. They want to be corrected because they know that's what makes them pure. That's what gets the garbage out of them. That's what gets the trash out. They want to be corrected. I truly believe God corrects those who He loves. Fathers correct their children, and I think they do it in a way that mothers aren't able to do it in. It's like I said, you kick fathers out of the picture. What are you left with? You're left with children in adult bodies. They could be in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Look at. We always talk about people. We always talk about people up in Washington. You see how old those individuals are. You didn't think. It's like something didn't get put in check. You look at a lot of celebrities. They can't. They especially black male celebrities running off at the mouth. Yeah, I think that's a big, running off the mouth, getting hot tempered, acting effeminate, and I think a lot of it comes from dad wasn't there, or they had a shitty dad to begin with. I guess in a sense they didn't have a father. They weren't fathered, as Heartbern would, as the phrase, the term he would use. They weren't fathered. But I think there's I don't believe all is lost. I believe that all this can be turned around. That's why I talk about it a lot. That's why I'm such a fan of the show The Walking Dead, because there are instances of fatherhood is pushed heavily in that show. From Rick to Herschel to even the screwed up stuff the governor has done. Fatherhood is a big topic on that show. And you think about it, everything outside them is wild and destructive, and you basically have these fathers who are trying to keep things in order. And that's what fathers do. Fathers kept things in order. They developed the rules. That's why we think. Why do we have founding fathers? Sure, we have some founding mothers, but we always defer to founding fathers. because there's something about a father that sets things straight, that sets things in line, and pushes them in a direction that gets us out of the mud into a more civilized fashion. I'm pretty I'm pretty sure a lot of guys who watch my videos are fathers. And to you guys, I salute. I salute you. You're doing a great service to your family, to society, to yourselves. I mean, that's what fathers do. But But what do you think? Do you think fatherhood is important? Do you think it's equal across the board concerning mothers and fathers, or you think it's something that's down? As I see it, I think fatherhood is currently being downplayed, but I think it can make a comeback. Please share your thoughts. I'll be interested into reading your comments or watching a video response. Please send me any PMs on the matter. Like I said, I'm going to include I'm going to work to include a link to one of Heartburn's videos in the description box. Got any gripes, complaints? Let me know. I'll see what I can do to address them. I'm not gonna get butthurt over them. I came out of a pretty well made forge, I would say. But that's my video. Fatherhood, the Forge, I'm Edward Jones, and you have a blessed day.